Good day everyone, I'm Jocelyn Salita from BSc 1-6 and I'm going to report the alternative theory and differential association reinforcement theory. But first, I would like to introduce the objective of this reporting. My co-students may learn what is behavioral concept in alternative theory, what is isolation, anonymity, and anomy, who created the differential association reinforcement theory, and its four types. So now let's discuss the first theory, which is the alternative theory. Alternative theory is a theory which attempts to integrate psychological and sociological concepts of criminality, states that crime rates are high in group, where social interaction is characterized by isolation, anonymity, and anomy. This alternative theory is the combination of psychological and sociological concepts. When we say psychological, it is the study of mind and behavior. So meaning, it is related to the mental and emotional state of a person. For example, you are experiencing depression and bipolar disorders. While sociological, in other hand, sociology, it's the study of society patterns and social interactions, or how people influence you as a person. For example, you interact with your family members, friends on social media, or talking to someone you're interested in dating. And the concept of criminality states that crime rates are high in group where social interaction is characterized by isolation, anonymity, and anomy. The first one is isolation. Isolation means separating from others, being in a place or situation that is separate from others. And the example of isolation, people separated depends on their social standards and social status. Next is anonymity. It is the quality or state of being unknown to most people, the quality or state of being anonymous. Anonymity can be belong to certain group. You may socialize to them, they can interact, they can mix with you or in groups, they can impersonate people, that the tendency is that they can take advantage of people. For example, the scammers, they have hidden characteristics to gain advantage from the others. And the third one is anomy. It is a social condition in which there is disintegration or disappearance of the norms and values that were previously common to the society. This anomy was introduced by the French sociologist Emile Durkheim. In his study of suicide, he believed that one type of suicide or anomy related from the breakdown of the social standards necessary for regulating behavior. Anomy is a breakdown of moral standards and values as well as lack of purpose. This could be applied to an individual or group. For example, if society does not provide enough jobs that pay a living wages so that people can work to survive, and many will turn to criminal methods of earning a living. And that's all for the alternative theory. I hope you learned something. Now let's talk about the other theory, which is the differential association reinforcement theory. Ronald Akers and Robert Burgess created the differential association reinforcement theory. According to Akers, people are deluded into deviant behavior through differential connection with deviant peers. Then via differential reinforcement, they learn how to get rewards and avoid punishment based on the real or projected consequences to a particular behavior. Burgess and Akers stated that from the time an individual is born, they are being accustomed to the rules of society. Individuals learn gender roles through the interactions with their parents. People are first introduced into deviant behavior by association with deviant peers. The example of differential association theory is a person becomes a criminal because of frequent criminal patterns. And for example, if one is exposed to a repeated criminal scenario, this scenario will eventually rub off on others nearby. So there are different kinds of reinforcement. But first, reinforcement refers to command, control, or encouragement of you. Reinforcement is not just about negativity. It has two effects, and it is the positive and the negative. One example of reinforcement that results positive, since positive reinforcement is when a rewarding stimulus is delivered following a desired behavior or response you wish to increase. For example, a child raises their hand and the teacher provides verbal praise like, "Nice raising your hand," and calls on the child. The verbal praise is the added reward that increases the likelihood that the child will raise their hand again in the future. While the negative result of reinforcement is used to remove or reduce an aversive stimulus following a desired behavior or response you wish to increase. Example here is a child who struggles with attending to a worksheet successfully attends 5 minutes with no problem behavior. The teacher then provides the student with a short break from the worksheet. The negative reinforce is the break from the worksheet. Break is used to increase the likelihood of the child attending to the worksheet in the future. Now we have here four forms of differential reinforcement. First is differential reinforcement of incompatible behavior or DRI, which is the reinforcement of behaviors which are incompatible with problem or inappropriate behavior that are behavior which the child cannot be doing simultaneously. For example, the behavior to replace is spitting. The individual will receive reinforcement for engaging in drinking, talking, and having their lips closed because all these behavior are incompatible with spitting. Next is differential reinforcement of alternative behavior or DRA. Is the reinforcement of behaviors which serves as alternative to problem or inappropriate behavior, especially alternative means of communication. Example is the function of the behavior to eliminate is escape. The individual will be provided with reinforcement anytime he requests a break. The third one is differential reinforcement of other behavior or DRO, also known as omission training procedures, an instrumental conditioning procedure in which a positive reinforcement is periodically delivered, only if the participant does something other than the target response. Example, in school, each recess that the child does not engage in kicking her peers or she will receive reinforcement. And the last one is differential reinforcement of low rates or DRL. The reinforcing of periods of time in which the child exhibits the behavior at a predetermined lesser rate. For example, a student who frequently requests the teacher check his work while he is working on it. The teacher will provide reinforcement if he only asks work to be checked over twice before submitting it. Again, alternative theory also sees that not all criminal acts have dependent groups or have peers or have contemporaries. You can also commit criminal acts within yourself, on how you react on things, on how you react on social interactions, and while the differential association reinforcement theory, it says how to fix things, how to teach a person not to do something for his own good. So this is the end of my report. I hope you learned something from me and thank you for watching.